Is it possible that the Ecat can be installed in a big building, presumably to heat it?
Technically, surely it is possible, because this is what he does, which is heat. But we cannot install Ecats in households or in condominiums, etc., because we do not have the certification necessary to do it.
In 2017, the 14.6 billion bushels of corn are require an estimated 2.7 billion to be spent on propane and natural gas. Would you open your technology for use on farms?
Yes, this definitely is a field where we can operate.
So are you ready then to enter the agricultural market?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Next question. There's a coal-fired power plant that will close in Montana in the next few years, and another that has recently been mothballed. Is the Ecat SK a reasonable solution that could keep these facilities providing electricity for the Pacific Northwest? If so, can the utility controllers get in line for the retrofit process?
I have spoken with top-level responsibles of utilities that made of power plants, and the problem must be divided in two. One is technological, one is administrative. The technological problem is not difficult to be resolved, because essentially coal makes heat, Ecat makes heat, and so they can be integrated. Of course, it is not easy. It takes studies, projects, etc., etc., etc. It takes good engineers, etc., etc. But it can be resolved. It is just normal, good engineering. Completely different is the issue under an administrative point of view. Because if a power plant puts an Ecat in its system, all the permits that he has are put in jeopardize, and very likely are put on hold. To get permissions for a power plant takes between 10 and 20 years. And you can imagine the consequences of this consideration. So it is much easier to study ex novo from the beginning a plant working with the steam made by a system of assemblies of Ecats than to retrofit an existing plant.
What became of the installation in which the company planned to use the SK to power a gas turbine? Are they still customers? Have they become operational?
These are in our research and development room. It is far from being a product. It is my pet project. I think that we will arrive to very interesting results.
What is the production capacity of the Ecat SK in megawatts per year?
20 kilowatt hours. It makes 21.9. Make 20 to make the calculation easier. You multiply 20 kilowatt hour per hour time 24 hours time 350 days, and you have the number.
What does the 19 volts and 20 amps power? Is this fans and pumps? So in the video, you have the 19 volts and the 20.
This is for the cooling system. I cannot enter into the details.
Okay. Is the output intended to normally be steam or hot air from the Ecat SK?
It depends on what the client wants.
Is the green box holding the heat exchanger too?
I assume they see green what is blue.
Okay.
Well,
is that holding the heat exchanger also? Is the heat exchanger, is it inside that?
No, because the heat exchanger depends on the kind of fluid that is used. No, the heat exchanger is not there.
Does the power end of the controller also include the power for the fans and blowers?
Yes, the power includes everything. That power is measured at the outlet of the plug
I would remind Rossi that in the EU, the heaters in big buildings are installed in a specific room that is opened only to technicians. So he says it's like an industry, and only staff can enter into a heater room.
Okay, I take advice of this, and I will take due information about that. We have to evaluate. Here is an important issue connected with this question. So thanks to Gianluca. The issue is this. When we make an installation, it is necessary that our clients gets the consulting of a certified engineer that must be certified by the locality where we have to install our technology. So if the certified engineer will tell me that I am authorized with the certifications that we have to install my plants in a specific place, well, there are no problems.
If somebody listening or watching this video learns about this who is in, let's say, shipbuilding, aerospace,
all I can say is that the SK can find application everywhere heat is produced and everywhere heat is an issue. Obviously, specific situation must be evaluated.
To increase production, producing, maintaining, and monitoring ECATs may be licensed to other parties, I guess outside Leonardo. Will that be considered?
Yes, it is an issue that can be considered. If somebody needs to speak with me, can email to info@leonardocorp1996.com, as you can see now in the video.
What kind of delivery timeframes are expected for the first customers that order now or order in the near future?
It depends on the power they need.
How long do you expect a fuel charge to last?
1 year.
As far as changing the fuel, will there be some kind of dealer network to address this issue?
We will have operators that will do it, and if the operators will be of our company or of licensed companies, this will depend on the licensing and on the locations.
Okay, here's a question from Orso Boo Boo. He says, is Andrea willing to create a fast track for the feeding of any energy devouring device apt to decontaminate radioactive isotopes in the environment, to capture atmospheric carbon if the greenhouse effect theory is confirmed?
All we are able to do is make heat. What you can do with this heat, it depends on you. What I can say, the Ecat does not generate carbon dioxide, because we burn nothing, and we do not emit any kind of pollutant. And as you have seen in the video, we do not emit any ionizing radiations.
When will the customer that has utilized the Ecat SK since last November be revealed?
When they will allow it.
When will Rossi's current industrial partner be revealed?
Same issue.
Same issue. All right.
So if a customer contacted you today and decided that they wanted to have, let's say, a small installation of 4 to 6 ECATs in a factory, would it be reasonable to assume that they could get this up and running within a quarter, within 3 months?
Much before.
Okay, so if they contacted you today or this week and got their ducks in the row and set it up,
weeks. We have an industrial organization ready to absorb the demand that we are foreseeing.
So that would mean that a customer customers will be revealed to the public when they reveal themselves, when they start putting signs in front of their factories saying we use the ECAT.
You know what? Yes, what clients will do, I cannot know.
After selling heat to industry, do you plan to sell the ECATs to the market?
This is a good question. So the reason why now we make a centralized control system is for intellectual property protection. Once this phase will be supered, we will begin to sell plants. So this is a situation in evolution, and we must do this in accordance with our licensees.
Next question, can the Ecat SK be used to create steam?
Of course, the Ecat makes heat, and our primary has a very high temperature, so we can reach also the highest temperature that you can reach with steam.
What is that temperature?
About 550 Celsius degrees, and to have the maximum efficiency with the Carnot cycle. So with the heat you can do whatever you want.
Next question is, how long does the reactor last in months/years before needing to be replaced with a new one?
This is a question that is very difficult to answer for me, because I never experienced so far the death of an Ecat.
In which countries can Leonardo make deliveries soon?
United States, Sweden, Japan.
How big is Rossi's team?
Enough.
What will Rossi need to qualify, vet potential customers? Or can anyone buy the energy?
To qualify, the client must first have a heat consumption that is proportional to the heat he says he wants to buy. Second, have a financial basis to pay for this heat, because we risk our capital, because we put our plants in his factory. Then the client must have an industrial organization well known. It must be an organization that has a history of the activity that they are asking to buy our heat for. And then they must have the personnel that is necessary to comply with our safety certifications. Then they must have, either as an employee or as a consultant, a certified engineer to give consulting in our field in the location where the plant has to be installed. These are the main limits that we put.
Why is it difficult to have a conglomeration for the home Ecat if there are no ionizing emissions?
You are right, and so I hope that this problem will be resolved as soon as possible. Surely the diffusion of industrial plants will ease the worry of liabilities for these very new things. In certification agencies does not know what is LENR, etc., etc. Of course, the fact that all our Ecats have the devices that detect ionizing radiations, etc., and continue year after year to detect nothing, this will help. But your question is right. I totally agree with you.
Pressure was the problem with the Ecat Warm, the first one. It could produce up to 105 degrees Celsius, but no real pressure. For useful steam generation, the pressure needs to be above 2 atmospheres. Is this possible?
Of course, we make heat, and we have a primary circuit that runs at a certain heat. Our circuit needs the pressure that it needs, but this is our parameter. The secondary circuit, that is the one that exchange that exchanges heat with our primary, that will need to be put in pressure, but that will not be our task, that will not be our turf. We give the heat in a primary circuit. The client takes this heat, exchanges it to heat up water or whatever he wants, air or whatever he wants to make something. And he will bring his pressure wherever he will want, regulating the flow.
Dear Andrea, dear Leonardo Corporation, since the Ecat SK is controlled online, what happens if the connection breaks for a long time, let's say days?
This is an important question. Obviously, it will happen sooner or later that a plant made by cats will go out of service. This can happen for circumstances that do not depend on us. So one of the prescription that I forgot to say before that makes necessary that our clients have to run any cat or to make a contract with us is that they must have a backup that automatically will enter in action as soon as, for any reason, the cat goes down. Otherwise, we cannot supply the plant, or otherwise the customer has to sign in the contract with us that we will not be liable for any period that our system will be out of service, even for regions that depend on us.
If a customer needs high power installations, i.e. many ECATs are necessary, will there be one blue box per ECAT or many ECATs in a bigger container?
It is absolutely indifferent because for us it doesn't matter. It depends on the client, on what the client wants.
Now, a controller can control more than one blue box ECAT. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
So if somebody had an installation of, let's say, a dozen ECATs, they would all be controlled by one single controller?
One controller today is able to control 10 up to 10 ECATs.
When will a commercialization of the ECAT be available in Europe? He's in France.
Well, we already are able to serve Sweden. If we have some important request, this can be done. The contact can be developed immediately.
Will Mr. Rossi take a communication agency to promote his products worldwide? I think he's talking.
Yes.
Can a university get an ECAT installed in their lab and pay for the heat? This is from David.
We would have some intellectual property issue.
What industry do you think will immediately benefit the most from this marvelous new technology?
Where I think that there is a most high necessity to lower the cost of heat is agriculture and paper mills.
How can I get in touch with your marketing team?
He can send an email to info@leonardocorp1996.com, explain exactly what he needs, and he will be addressed to the right person.
Robert asks, Dear Andrea, would you care to share your faith and its influence on your life and work?
Yes, of course. Anybody that has written on www.ingandrearossi.com what happened to me in the years knows that what I passed through would probably not be survived should I not have a very deep and strong base in my faith.
Do you have existing contracts with major suppliers such as National Instruments or Siemens who can ensure the supply chain for the productions of your production in case of large orders?
We have contracts with important concerts. We are under NDA, and I am not going to give their names because I am under NDA.
Tiziano says, our company is a large publicly listed company dealing with heat and power. We are interested to license Ecat technology mostly for our clients active in agribusiness. How much could it cost per MWT of installed power, megawatts thermal of installed power?
Of course, this is not a question to put in this context. Again, you can read my email address and send and explain due information, and we will follow up with your request.
Does the available certification for industrial application allow to apply the device in sports facilities such as gyms or pools?
I don't know, but I return to what I said before. This question has to be put to a certified engineer, certified in the location.
How have you determined that the temperature is the surface of the plasma column and not some reflection from the reactor body or transmission from inside the volume of the plasma?
Because we have, with the spectrometry, we have set the spectrometry in a way that it goes right to the core of the plasma, where it has the maximum intensity.
Have you used a calorimeter to measure the heat output?
No, we did not.
The power rating?
The power rating of this, as you have seen in the calculations, is exactly 21.9
Okay.
kilowatts.
Will this be the standard rating for the mass production of the SK?
Yes.
And what is the COP?
The COP is the one that has been described in
Was 57?
So the COP, if we consider all the energy that exits from the plug, is 50, 57, 58, something. I don't remember exactly. 57. The COP of the sole Ecat is the COP of a self-sustaining mode.
Could you define self-sustaining mode?
Is when they consume is irrelevant to respect to the energy that is generated.
Utilities have complex formulas for billing customers. Can you react to rate changes that hide the cost per BTU? For example, utilities switching to an annual service model that does not include the incremental cost of BTUs.
Actually, we make contracts renewable every year, and for that year the cost is fixed. If substantial variation would happen during the year to the advantage of the customer, that could be put in discussion, but this will depend on specific situations.
Can an SK heated gas turbine be engineered to survive heater temperatures of greater than about 1000 Celsius?
Yes.
The radiation from the SK has to be transferred to the coolant, which is compressed air, possibly steam. Rossi stated, the gas turbine configuration resolves the thermal problem. This was a quote from
Yes,
you.
I agree. This is why we are working on gas turbines. This is, as I said, this is my pet project. And we are making a very good job, I repeat, in Japan now.
Is it working now well enough to continuously make electricity?
No.
Not yet.
We are in a very early stage.
Can you describe the importance of resonance when it comes to the oscillations generated?
Resonances in this technology are everything.
What is the role of noble gases in the fuel mixture?
Cooling. And it is not in the fuel mixtures.
Are there any malintentioned forces that you and Leonardo Corporation face from governments or otherwise who may stand to lose from the deployment of your technology?
Not that I am aware of.
Do you have any kind of training of other persons who can continue your work?
Yes.
Will the professors in Uppsala University endorse your new product officially?
No professor is going to endorse anything. Professors of university are professors, not salesmen.
What does the SK stand for in the Ecat SK?
SK are the initials of the name of Sven Kullander. Sven Kullander was, because unfortunately as that you can see the plate that we put on all our Ecat SK with big gratitude for Professor Sven Kullander, because I learned from him basic things, and I have infinite gratitude towards Sven Kullander.
Is the power output adjustable or is it constant?
No, it is, well, it is adjustable. It is adjustable with the square waves, which means it is adjustable with working with a timer that turns on and off.
As far as the United States goes, in which states can you do business?
Wherever.
Will you keep us posted as to the number of installations you have made on a yearly basis, not who the customers are, but how many have been installed?
Yes.
How long will it take for Leonardo to install the base unit to the time of the completed contract?
It depends on the type of contract, and it depends on the kind of plant.
LENR,
Yes.
is this an accurate description of your technology? LENR,
Yes.
low energy nuclear reactor.
I think that among all the definitions that have been proposed so far, I think that LENR is the proper definition.
Now, the word nuclear is in there.
Yes, the word nuclear is in there, but it is necessary, because otherwise everybody tells you that you go against the first principle of thermodynamics.
So, say
Because, you know, the problem is that chemical energy, it is not. If it is not chemical, it is nuclear. But nuclear is a universe. So when you say nucleus, you talk of a universe. Nuclear does not mean that it is plutonium or something like that. Nuclear can also be... well, I strongly suggest to go to read that paper of mine where I have put a lot of information to the limit of the confidentiality, where I have put theoretical knowledge, where there are described things that can happen and that are not chemical between electrons and protons, that do not produce high, strong force radiations.